Well, as usual, I got ahead of myself and started ripping stuff off the car before I remembered to put the camera on. So, welcome back to 4th Street Chop Shop. I started working on my Nova project yesterday, and this is how far we've gotten so far. The radiator support almost removed itself. It only had a couple of screws left that were holding onto metal. And one little spot where I had to use the fire wrench to cut through that bit. Just now I took the other fender off. I only had to pull 2 screws and the whole thing came off. Next we're going to attack the doors. I don't think these are quite usable anymore. I mean, I don't know. Could we glue that back on maybe? Well, the doors are coming off next. Alright, well I started working on getting the door off, and this is how it's going. These pins are really in there, so I'm just getting rid of a lot more of the door so that I can get to them. Alright, well, I got the bottom pin out. Top pin's ready to come out. It only took a lot of fire, beating, and lube. And you know, everything goes better with lube. So, here we go. Ah, you sucker. Yeah, it's out. And it's off. Most of it's going to go in the scrap pile. I'll probably pull the mirror off. Glass, I don't know. I am going to pull the works out of the inside. But it's off. Now we just have to do the same thing on the other side. Well, all done for the day. Managed to get both doors off. Here's what's left of the fenders and hood. Amazing how much rust there is. But you know, when you let a car sit for 42 years, that's what happens. More tomorrow. Well, I got the whole front clip off, as you can see. Right here is the only place that the radiator support was actually attached to the car. It turns out, I don't know if you can see that or not, the engine's not even attached to the transmission. So they didn't get very far with their install. So, well, getting ready to hook it up and yank it out. Set this right here. See how that turns out. To get my big pry bar. So it turns out the torque converter is still attached to the flex plate. So I'm trying to pull it out with the converter still attached. And that actually came out pretty good. I didn't have to do a whole lot of prying, a little bit. I didn't even forget to unhook anything. No hooked wires or cables. Nice. Progress. Well, it's definitely a 350. 2-bolt or a 4-bolt. Could go either way. And amazingly enough, this thing actually turns over. I didn't think there was any way that it would. But I got in here to pull these loose, and look. Crazy. Alright, it's a new day here at the chop shop, and we're working some more on this 350. The engine code over here says TNT, which from what I've seen on the internet, if that can be trusted, means it's a 1970 255 horse 4-barrel engine out of a truck. But it's clearly got a 2-barrel on it, and it's been there a long time. So, I don't know. Well, let's look inside the valve covers. Could be a lot worse. 441 cylinder heads. Yeah. Like I said, could be better. Could be, well, a lot worse. Let me get the intake loose and I'll bring it back in. Well, much like the under the valve covers, it's not too bad. I guess next is to pull the pan and see if we have a 2-bolt or a 4-bolt. Alright, so we have a new development. The engine only turns about 3/4 of a turn. I think we have some stuck valves. This one, this one, this one, this one, and I think it's this one. So I went around with a brass hammer and whacked everything. Those ones didn't want to move. So I have to pull the heads off to see what's going on. Can you hold this for me for a minute? Keep it right on here. So I want to show how loose the timing chain is in this sucker. That's how much it moves before the engine tries to turn. That's, let's see, that's a good 10 degrees worth of slop. Wow. I've seen worse, but yeah, that's not good. I had one engine many years ago. It was a 318. It was so loose that we could take the chain off without unbolting anything. It's a miracle it didn't jump time. Alright, so I stripped off the rocker arms and all, so brass hammer, so none of those valves are stuck. Now we'll move on to the other side. Alright, got all the rockers off the other side. Now I thought these two were stuck, but now they don't sound very good, but they're not stuck. So it must be one of the cylinders is rusted up. Well, we'll pull the heads off and see. Okay, I pulled the head off of this side, and this is clearly not the side that's causing the problem, but this is kind of neat. This popped off of the exhaust valve. Corrosion. But I mean, there's some junk in here, but nothing that will stop the cylinder from turning over. And somebody's been in here before, because this blue head gasket I don't believe is original, especially when you look on this side and you see copper seal. So someone's definitely been into this engine before. I'll pull the other side off. I got the other head off. Pretty much like the other side. Some crusty mess in here. But this cylinder right here, you can see there's rust around here. This one might be the one that was keeping it from turning all the way. I'm going to vacuum it out, throw a little lube in there, WD or something, and then see if it'll go. Alright, so a little bit of lube, and she turns over. Can't go all the way around because the crankshaft actually hits the back of the engine stand, but she turns pretty easy now. I cleaned off a couple of the pistons, and it says 12 in the middle and an E on that one. This one also says 12. This one over here says 11 and it's got a 4 on it. I don't think those are factory markings, but honestly I don't know. But hey, she turns over. Now the thing is to flip it over and see if it's got a 2 or 4 bolt main. All right, time to find out if it's a 4 bolt or not. That screw out. And voila, look at that. It's a 4 bolt. Nice. I like it. I don't know if y'all can see that. Let me get you off the tripod here. But yeah, there we go. 1970 350 4-bolt main. I guess that means I got to put in a 3/4 cam, right? Years ago, we had a dude convinced at my job that there was such a thing as a 5-bolt main. We told him, yeah man, you just drill a hole right here in this main cap, run a bolt down nice and tight, and you will never blow that engine up. It was hilarious. But yeah, there it is. It looks pretty clean too. And this thing sat for 43 years. Slap it back together and that sucker will run. I figured I'd show you the bottom of the oil pan. I mean, there's a little bit of junk in there, but it's not terrible. It's what you'd expect from the time. A lot of lead from the leaded fuel. For that matter, there were little puddles of lead on the cylinder heads at each end. Like I said, it's pretty common back in the day. But yeah, slap this sucker back together. Rings are probably all stuck from sitting, so it'll smoke like a bingo hall. But yeah, a good core motor. So you can catch your fingernail on the ridges of the cylinders. So really, to do it right, you'd want to rebuild it. But in a pinch, you can pop the pistons out, make sure the rings are loose, give it a little hone with the dingle ball, and send her down the road. You probably get 20-30,000 miles out of it before it started smoking again. But, that's probably it for today. I still have to pull the transmission out of the car and go from there. So that's it for this time on 4th Street Chop Shop. So y'all do the like, share, subscribe stuff. Trying to get my follower count up. So do the things, people. Thank you very much.